everyone, this is Maki. The special edition of the movie Gundam Seed Freedom has been released in Japan. In addition to the revised footage that will be included on the Blu-ray disc, a small epilogue that takes place after the conclusion of the story was also released. The second part showed Athrun and Cagalli reflecting on the battle. There are currently no plans to include this epilogue on the Blu-ray disc or any other media. Director Fukuda mentioned I can't make any promises, but the staff and I will discuss ways for those who couldn't come to the theater to enjoy it. In addition, Mr. Fukuda shared the script for Athrun and Cagalli's epilogue on X. It might be an attempt to share the content with those who couldn't make it to the theater by releasing the script. Let's go through the contents of this script together. In a previous program, I described the contents based on my memory after seeing it in the theater. This time we'll go through the script written by the director. The overall content is probably similar. Now let's go through it with the director's comments. First of all, here is director Mitsuo Fukuda's comment on X. This is the first draft of the script for the second epilogue. Although the number 3 is written in the title, it's just a mistake. The correct number is 2. The content is slightly different from the finished version. This epilogue was written very smoothly. The contents of the finished version and the first draft are almost the same. Let's look at the title. Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom. Additional Last Scene Scenario 3. Script by Mitsuo Fukuda. Characters: Athrun Zar, Cagalli at her. Now, let's go over the content starting with the next section. The words sound only epilogue are displayed on the black screen. The text of Bakatsuki Shimasi 75.0.0.00 appears. The term Shimo is the same expression used in the epilogue involving Kira and Lars. Shimao is the Japanese pronunciation of island. The fact that the date is listed as 00.00 probably indicates that this was written before the discussions with the setting staff were completed. I guess they are using the number 0 as a temporary date and time. Cagalli's line, good work Athrun. Athrun's line, you too, Cagalli. It was truly a relief that we were able to prevent the attack on Org. Cagalli's line. I was so surprised when I first heard about the situation. I was taken aback when you said that we must work together to fight the enemy that defeated Kira and Shin. The proposed strategy was quite reckless. I was really worried. Athrun's line. It's all right. The outcome of a battleground isn't determined by fighting ability alone. There are ways to identify and exploit your opponent's weaknesses or set traps and use them effectively. There's no rule that says you have to fight on equal terms in your opponent's area of expertise. Cagalli's line. That's impressive. Athrun's line. Well, even if I were to fight on equal terms, there is no factor that would lead to my defeat. Cagalli's line. Is that really true? Athrun's line. Exactly. But there's no doubt that we were only able to secure victory because of your help. It was because you prepared justice and cavalier for us. Cagalli's line. I see. I'm glad I could be of service. Athrun's line. It seems that Shin would need about 10 years of training to fully master justice. Cagalli says, laughing. That may actually be true. Suddenly, Cagalli speaks in a serious tone. And then Athrun's inner thoughts. So, the subject is finally being broached. Cagalli's line. What does the enemy pilot me by chimerous delusions? Athrun falls silent. Cagalli's line. Why are you silent? Athrun's line. I cannot talk about it here. Cagalli's line. So it's something you can't even say out loud. Athrun's line. That's not what I meant. Cagalli's line. I heard a story from Mayrin. Apparently, there was a time in the past when a woman named Mir was in your womb. Athrun's line. That was a long time ago. Besides, that incident was full of misunderstandings. Cagalli's line. Have you done anything that could be misunderstood? Athrun's line. Why does it always end like this? Cagalli's line. Mayrin is Lunamaria's sister, you know. I've heard all about your many mistakes. Athrun's line. That's why I said they were misunderstandings, all right. With a look of determination, Athrun begins to speak seriously. I was thinking about you. Cagalli is surprised. What? Athrun's sentence. I'm sorry. Athrun, now slightly flustered, speaks a little faster. But I'll explain this much. The only one I really saw was you, Cagalli. I saw you on that deserted island. Cagalli, slightly embarrassed. Is that so? Athrun remains silent with a serious expression on his face. Cagalli sighs and addresses Athrun. It was something necessary for victory, was it not? Athrun remains silent. Cagalli, in a tone that suggests she understands. If that's the case, I accept it. Athrun, relieved, says her name. Cagalli. But Cagalli, still embarrassed, shouts. Why didn't you talk to me about this before? Athrun replies calmly. Would you have agreed if I had consulted you first? Cagalli, blushing, shouts. Of course not. And it seems that the content is almost the same as what was shown in the theaters. The playful exchange between Athrun and Cagalli was truly heartwarming. As I mentioned earlier, it's still uncertain whether or not this epilogue cut will be included on the Blu-ray disc. Some fans are speculating that it might be included on the Freedom Zero Blu-ray disc. What do you think about that? Personally, I think that the fact that the director shared the script in this way indicates that they were unable to include it in the Blu-ray disc. The script isn't the private property of the director, it belongs to Bandai Sunrise. It seems likely that sharing the script publicly was the result of discussions with the staff. Of course, this is just my own speculation. There is no doubt that the experience is even more enjoyable when the visuals and character voices are combined. I still hope that fans will have the opportunity to enjoy it in some form. Thank you for watching to the end. See you next time.